بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين على سيدنا وحبيبنا وكريمنا وعظيمنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله مولانا العلي العظيم. ببركة إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وأصحاب سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم. يا رب بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مضى يا واسع الكرم. صلاة وسلاما عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. It's a great honor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He's given me and you the tawfiq to sit, to assemble in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and talk about the deen that He has given us. MashaAllah, we've just heard a very breathtaking recitation of the Holy Quran, and equally a very beautifully and eloquently naat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. MashaAllah, my dua is that these young ambassadors of the deen, they flourish and they become true ambassadors of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As we've already heard, today's topic is gambling with time. And this topic is very relevant in the day and age that we are living in today. It's something that is of great importance. Time is one of the many blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed many bounties upon us. And one of the, we should say, the most valuable blessing, the most valuable and the dearest blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us is waqt, is time. Because time is a period between two phases. This time that we are living in, it is a period between two phases, between life and between death. This is what time is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, He swears by time. In Surah Al-Asr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْعَصْرِ. He swears by time. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. That indeed man is in loss, is in khasara, is in loss. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swear by time? Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need to swear by al-waqt? Imam Fakhruddin al-Razi, commentating on this verse of the Holy Quran in At-Tafsir al-Kabir, he says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given man many blessings, and amongst the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given man is time. Time that we live in. And it is this time which is a greater blessing than place. Because if a person lives for 1,000 years and he spends all these years in khasara, in ghafla, in negligence, in heedlessness, but during the final moments of his life, he does tawbah. What does he do? He does tawbah, he repents. Then that person's destination is paradise. That person's destination is paradise. And this is why he says that in time you have happiness, you have sadness, you have khushi, you have ghami, you have the pains of life, you have the difficulty of life, and you have the happiness of life. And talking about happiness, something comes to my mind related to time again. That there was a बादशाह, एक बादशाह था, और उसने अपने वजीर को कहा कि मुझे ऐसा नुस्खा दो, ऐसा वजीफा दो कि अगर मुझे खुशी आए तो वो खुशी फौरन गमी से बदल जाए, और अगर मेरे पास कोई गमी आए तो वो गमी फौरन खुशी से बदल जाए. So give me a remedy, give me such a wazifa that if I am given happiness, as soon as I am given happiness, that happiness turns into sorrow. And as soon as I am given sorrow, I am afflicted with sorrow and grief, that sorrow turns into happiness. So what did the wazir, what did he say to the Badshah? उस वजीर ने कहा कि बादशाह मैं आपको एक नुस्खा देता हूँ कि अगर आपको खुशी आए तो आप ये नुस्खा अपने ज़हन में रख लें. कौन सा नुस्खा? ये वक्त गुजरेगा, ये वक्त गुजर जाएगा. और अगर आपके पास कोई गमी आए तो आप अपने ज़हन में ये नुस्खा रख लें कि ये वक्त गुजर जाएगा. So when you have happiness and then you think this time will pass, the happiness is only going to last for a few moments. It's going to pass on, then your happiness will end there and you will think positively. And when you are afflicted with sorrow and with grief and sadness, then you put into your mind that this time of sorrow, it will pass, it will go away. And then you won't think of sorrow, you will think positively and your life will be filled with happiness. This is what life is. This is what waqt is. It's just a time, it's just a period. And this is why Imam Fakhruddin al-Razi, commentating on this verse, he says that this time, when you do tawbah, your destination, your abode will be paradise. And this is only khas with zaman. This is only khas with time. You can't have this with place. You can't have this with makan. Why? Because makan is just a ni'mah. This place that we live in is just a ni'mah. But it can't change you in any way. But time can change you. Time can change you. Because if you didn't have that part of time in your life, then you won't have been given the time to do tawbah. And if you were given the time to do tawbah, then you would not have gone into paradise. You wouldn't have entered into paradise. And we find many ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Ni'matan maghbunun fiha kathirun min al-nas." That there are two blessings in which many people are lost in. Many people are lost in. What are those two blessings? As-sihhatu wal-faragh. The word maghboon, there's many meanings for the word maghboon, but you can take it in one way, that if you have something to sell, and what do? You sell that item with a loss. You don't make a profit on it. This is one of the meanings of maghboon. And this is the meaning taken in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that two blessings, you have two items, two blessings, but you don't make use of them. You lose out in them. You make a loss from them. What are those two blessings? Good health and free time. Because you have the good health, but you don't utilize that health in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have the himmah, you have the good health, the good being, to go and worship Allah, to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what do? You waste it. And the second blessing is al-faragh, is free time. You have the time to again seek knowledge. You have the time to follow the practice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have the time to get near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to gain the proximity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But yet what do? You waste that time. You waste it. And this is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there's two blessings that a person has, but he makes no use of them. He loses out in them. He makes a loss in them. He doesn't make a profit in them, but he makes a loss in them. And this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that اغتنم خمسا قبل خمس. That the word ghanam comes from the word ghanimat. And ghanimat means to treasure. So the Prophet ﷺ says that you have 5 treasures. Treasure them. Treasure those 5 things before 5. What are those 5 things? Rasulullah ﷺ says that shababika qabla haramik. Your youth before your old age. This is all encompasses within time. It all falls within time. Today you are a young man. Tomorrow you will be old man. You will grow old. Treasure that youth. Treasure this youth you have before you grow old. Before you get old. Today you are fit and healthy to do the ibadah, to do the riyadha, to get closer to Allah, to do all kinds of worship. But tomorrow when you grow old, you won't have the himmah to come to the masjid. You won't be able to recite the Holy Quran because your eyesight will become weak. You won't have the himmah to do the hajj of the Baytullah. Why? Because you are old and weak. This can only be done when you are young. So اغتنم, treasure this youth. Rasulullah says, وَصِحَّتِكَ قَبْلَ مَرَضِكَ. That your good health before you come sick and weak. Before you come sick and ill. Today you have good health to do everything. Tomorrow, when you are sick, you are weak, will you be able to fast? Will you be able to keep the rosé? No. Why? Because you are weak, you are sick, you are ill. Today, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you good health. And this is a ni'mah in itself, good health. Don't waste this blessing. Don't waste this ni'mah. Why? Because today you have it, tomorrow you won't. Treasure it. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, وَغِنَاكَ قَبْلَ فَقْرِكَ. That your wealth, you're wealthy today, tomorrow you will be impoverished. You will be stricken with poverty. You won't have no money. Today you have the wealth. This wealth, which is a ni'mah. This wealth which is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the same time this wealth which is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today you abandon this ni'mah. Today you don't appreciate this ni'mah. Tomorrow you won't have it. Tomorrow you will be poor. You will be struck with poverty. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, وَفَرَاغِكَ قَبْلَ شُغْلِكَ. Today you have free time. You have the chance. Tomorrow you won't. Today you have the chance to recite the Holy Quran. You are young. Tomorrow when you are old, you will have a family. You will have children to feed. You will have a job. You won't have the time. You won't have the time for the deen. Why? Because you are busy now. You're a busy person. You occupy yourself with the dunya. Now your chance. Whilst you are free to get closer to Allah. And finally the Prophet ﷺ said, وَحَيَاتِكَ قَبْلَ مَوْتِكَ. Your life before your death. The most important, this final part which summarizes the whole hadith. Because if you didn't have life, you wouldn't be able to do none of those. Today you have life. Today Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you life. Today Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you this time. And this is what time is. Time is life. Al-waqtu kal-hayat. Time is life. Today you have life. Tomorrow you won't. You'll be leaving this dunya. So make use of this. And if we look at the life of the Aslaf, the way they treasured their life, the way they treasured time. Time which we are today, what do? We are abandoning time. Today, we are falling into the intoxication of time. This is what it is. It's like intoxication. Like many people say, time is money. True, time is money. But sadly, we have misunderstood the true essence of time. We have perceived time as in a negative way. Time for us is valuable. It means something. But today, time for us is about the dunya. Is the dunya. What we want to do is just accumulate wealth, accumulate money, accumulate possession and property. This is what time is for us. But in reality, time is those moments which you spend in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what time really is. As the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said in a very, very famous hadith, that time, Sayyidina Malik bin Dinar, one of the tabi'in, he said that people depart from this dunya. People depart from this dunya, yet they do not taste the most sweetest thing. They do not taste the sweetest thing in the dunya. When asked, what is the sweetest thing in the dunya? He said, ma'rifatullah. To recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what the sweetest thing in the dunya is. We have come into this dunya, and all we are doing is spending our time to accumulate wealth, to gain possession, to gain property, to live the luxury and lavishes of this dunya. But what we haven't understood, that the true essence of the dunya, the sweetest thing of the dunya, Allah, the reality of the dunya is to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As the verse we've heard earlier, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I have not created man and jinn except to worship me. The Mufassirun have commented on this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need our worship. He hasn't created us for the mere purpose of worship, no. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us a لِيَعْرِفُونَ. He has created us so we recognize our Lord. So we know about our Lord. So we know who our Creator is. And this is why we see that the life of the Aslaf, those people who lived before us, and how they really treasured time. If we look into the life of Sayyidina Imam Abu Yusuf. Who was Imam Abu Yusuf? He was the student of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. If you look at these people, how they treasured time. Imam Abu Yusuf, he spent, there's two narrations. One narration says that he spent 17 years. One narration says that he spent 29 years in the company of Imam Abu Hanifa, seeking knowledge. 17 years and 29 years. And he never missed Salatul Dhuhr without Imam Abu Hanifa. So he was always in the company of Imam Abu Hanifa, every Salatul Dhuhr. And it's also mentioned that even on the 2 days of Eid, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, he spent in the company of Imam Abu Hanifa. On one occasion, a child of Imam Abu Yusuf died. The child died. And what did Imam Abu Yusuf do? He didn't perform the janazah. He didn't attend the janazah. He didn't perform the kafan, the takfeen, or the tadfeen. What did he do? He told the aqriba and the asdiqa, the close relatives and friends, to go do the takfeen and the tadfeen of the child and pray the Salatul Janazah. He didn't do it himself. Why? Because he didn't want to miss the company of Imam Abu Hanifa. He didn't want to even miss a second in the company of Imam Abu Hanifa. Why? Because he knew that time is ghanimat. It's everything. Time is gold. And we'll talk about this later, what the true essence of time is. Even look at this. Even during the final moments of his life, final few moments, one of his students visits him. The student known as Ibrahim ibn al-Jarrah. مرض أبو يوسف فآتيته أعوذه فوجدته مغمى عليه. He says that whilst Imam Abu Yusuf was on his deathbed, I came to visit him and he was awake. And he said to me, فَلَمَّا أَفَاقَ قَالَ لِي يَا إِبْرَاهِيم مَا تَقُولُ فِي مَسْأَلَةٍ. Oh Ibrahim, what is your opinion in this masla? Someone who is about to face death, final few moments of his life. The student says, Huzur, قُلْتُ فِي مِثْلِ هَذِهِ الْحَالَةِ. Huzur, in this state you are asking me about this masla? You're about to face death. You're about to leave this dunya. You must have so much things in your mind. So much things wandering in your mind. And you want to talk about a masla which you have done all your life? Imam Abu Yusuf says, وَلَا بَأْسَ بِذَلِكَ نَدْرُسُ لَعِلَّهُ يَنْجُو بِهِ نَاجٍ. That we will learn, maybe by us talking about this masla, someone will benefit from it. Someone will benefit from it. And then the masla was that, without reading the ibarat, he says, what do you say about a person, which one of those two people are better? When he's stoning the shaitan, a person who stones the shaitan whilst he's walking, or a person who stones the shaitan whilst he's riding something? Riding an animal. Which one is better? Which is the better state? To stone the shaitan whilst you're walking, or whilst you're riding an animal? And the student says, whilst you're walking. He said, no. Then he said, whilst you're riding the animal. And he said, no. Both the answers are wrong. He says that if a person is walking, and if a person is going to do dua after stoning the shaitan, then he should stone the shaitan whilst he's walking. This is better. And if a person is not going to do dua after he stones the shaitan, then he should stone the shaitan whilst he's riding an animal. This is the answer he gives. And he says, after he gave the masla, he says, I left. And as I reached the door, I could hear Imam Abu Yusuf facing the pains of death. He's making the noise of death. And as I closed the door, he died. Final moments. Look at these people. They don't have no worry for the dunya. No worry for the dunya. And this is how we find that the likes of Hassan al-Basri, he says that, O son of Adam, O son of Adam, your life is just days. Your life is just days. So if a day passes, then a part of your life has passed. A part of your life has passed. And this is why the great Sahabi of the Prophet ﷺ, Abdullah bin Mas'ud, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that the most depressing day for me, the saddest day for me in my life, and the day which I regret the most, is that day which passes. Is that day which passes in my life. And from that day, my life has decreased, but my good deeds have not increased. Allah. That is the most nadam for me. The day that I regret the most. That day which passes from my life. And that day has passed, my life has decreased. My life has shortened. Why? Because one day has passed, but my good deeds do not increase. My good deeds do not increase. That is the worst day of my life that I regret the most. And this is why we find that the likes of Imam Shafi. He says that I spent my time in the company of the Sufiya, and two things I learnt. Imam Shafi says I learnt two things. The first thing, al-waqtu kas-sayf, in lam taqta'hu qata'ak. The time is like a sword. Al-waqtu kas-sayf, in lam taqta'hu qata'ak. That if you do not cut the time, and this is the literal meaning, if you do not slice the time, time will slice you. It will slice you. Meaning that today you have time. Utilize that time. Make use of that time with good deeds, with good actions. Because tomorrow, if you do not make use of that time, then time will be dominant over you. Time will delay you, and will continue to delay you until you face your death. This is one of the meanings of this. He says, this is the first thing I learned from the Sufiya. And the second thing which I learned from the Sufiya was that if you don't occupy yourself with good deeds, then if you don't occupy yourself with good deeds, then time will occupy you with evil. Today, if you don't occupy your time with good deeds, time will occupy you with doing bad deeds. This is the two things he said. He says that I learned from the Sufiya. And this is what time is all about. Today, what do? We are gambling with our time. We are wasting that time on what? On useless things. On things which do not benefit us. Today, most of our time is in the social media, as we've already heard. Doing what? Intermingling with other people. Intermingling with the opposite sex, with the opposite gender. Talking to people to ghayr maharib. Talking things which do not benefit us. Do not benefit others. Do not benefit us, benefit others. And this is why it's said that time is like gold. Inshallah, we're going to wrap up on this, because inshallah we've got our prominent speaker who's going to enlighten us. Time is like gold. Time is like gold. And if you do not take heed from life, from time, then time will kill you. Time will kill you. لأن الوقت هو الحياة. Time is life. See, we've understood time as something. Yeah, we understand time as something. But in reality, what is time? Time is life. Time is life. It's the stage between life and death. That's what time is. So, if you فَقَطْرُ الْوَقْتِ قَطْرُ الْحَيَاةِ. So if you waste the time, then what are you doing? If you kill time, what are you doing? You are killing your life. Killing your life. Yes. Because killing time is killing life. This is what it is. قَطْرُ الْحَيَاةِ قَطْرُ الْوَقْتِ قَطْرُ الْحَيَاةِ. Killing time is killing life. We today say, oh, let's kill the time. Doing what? Wasteful things, useless things. But in reality, that time that has gone, it's not going to come back. لَنْ يَعُودَ. It will never return. It's not going to come back to you. That moment that has passed from our life, it will never return back to us. That time that you killed, doing useless things, doing things that do not benefit others, is passed from your life, and it's not going to come back to you. That time you could have spent in the tasbih, in the tahmeed, in the tahleel. You could have spent doing the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But yeah, what did you do? You killed that time doing useless things, doing nonsense things, doing wasteful things. And what did you do? By doing them, you burdened yourself with sin. You burdened yourself with bad deeds. And what you could have done is you could have increased your good deeds, your account of good deeds, your balance of good deeds. You could have increased that. And by increasing them, you could have got closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why it's said that in reality, life is not gold. You can't even say time is gold. You can't even say time is silver. Because gold and silver is just a metal. They're just metals. Today you have them, tomorrow you won't. Time is something much more precious than gold. Today you have gold, because gold is a material. Gold may be something valuable, but time is something which is far valuable than that, far greater than that, far more precious than that. So this is why we need to make use of time. And let's not waste our time. Let's not gamble with time. And by gambling with time, what are we doing? We are getting distancing ourselves, separating ourselves from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me the tawfiq to really utilize our time, make use of our time, value our time, treasure our time. And when we do this, we will get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will be able to do good deeds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put barakah into our time. He will put blessings into our time. And by you receiving these blessings, you will get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will get closer to Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me the tawfiq to understand the deen, understand the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, and become better Muslims. Wa akhiru da'waya alhamdulillah.